Levels.
I was thinking that when you say, when we do our introductions,
Yeah.
that you're Russ from Tattersall Pedaled, and I should be Toffer from the Bike Path.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of BikesxBourbon. I'm Russ from Path Less Pedaled.
And I am Toffer from the Bike Path.
And today's episode is going to be extra supple.
All supple everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So if you are playing the supple drinking game, be forewarned.
Yeah, you might want to mix in some water. It's okay.
Yeah.
And for our extra supple edition here of Bikes and Bourbon, we have our first one is going to be Tattersall Distilleries Straight Rye.
And it's a gift.
It's a gift. We have a Queen of the Mountain.
Who's the Queen of the Mountain?
My partner, Nikki.
Nikki, you are Queen of the Mountain.
Yeah, she was in Minneapolis and recently and picked this bottle up for us.
Cool.
So
Toffer's going to do the pouring. And on this episode, we're going to talk about all things supple.
That's a heavy pour, sorry about that.
Heavy pour. And we're going to talk about the new Grail carbon gravel bike by Cayone and the weird hover bar. We're going to talk about a new bike release by Salsa called the Journeyman 650B, super supple. And also, Rapha's coming out with cargo shorts. That's the thing.
Yeah, cargo shorts, and we'll...
Expensive cargo shorts.
Expensive cargo shorts, so if your jersey pockets run out of room.
So this is a Tattersall, and...
It's a straight rye.
It's a straight rye.
That's what they call it.
So what does that mean? That means 51%?
Yeah, I think it's just like you're supposed to be classic middle-of-the-road rye.
So I think like on the nose, like the thing I'm getting the most of is like black licorice. It like really kind of jumps out there.
Yeah, it's definitely, as we were getting into this a little bit before we started shooting, a little bit peppery on the nose as that. On the tongue, it's a little like the oak kind of starts to come through on the, in the mouthfeel.
I'm getting the wood. I'm getting a lot of black licorice. It's like licking like a black licorice over and over again.
Would you say eating black licorice?
Yeah, like eating it.
Like eating it.
Or gently masticating it in your mouth without swallowing. But like at the tail end, I feel like I do get a little bit of like maple molasses. But that's after getting over that a real spicy hump in the beginning.
Yeah, no, it has a really nice, it has a nice finish to it.
In terms of bikes, one of the most interesting and weird things to happen this week was the Grail Bike by Cayone. And what's unique about this bike is it's their carbon gravel bike, but it's got this wacky bar that they call the hover bar, which is like a double decker. It looks like the wings of a biplane.
I love that every person who's an editor of a bike website put wild in their headline. Right. It's just like, that's wild. Like, what are they doing? Like, why? There's two handlebars.
Yeah, I'm not quite.
One of them you're not really supposed to use all the way. It's just like for your thumbs.
If you crash, you'd break your wrist.
Yeah, but they say that that's designed for like when you're in the drops. It kind of gives your thumbs someplace to
you
go.
hook in, it's a little bit more stable.
Yeah, you can feel a little bit more comfortable in the drops.
Yeah, and that second bar is supposed to be extra thin.
7 times the compliance.
Suppleness.
As a regular, I guess kind of generic bar.
I don't think it makes sense. And here's why. So the most supple part of the bar
doesn't make sense.
Is the top, right? How often are you going to be riding on there? When you're climbing, you're probably going at a slower speed. It seems like if you're going to make it supple, it should be in the hooks or the drops, right? But that's where they make it stiffest. I guess it's a supple climber on rough terrain, but then when you're descending, you're going to get, your junk rattled.
I don't. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because I guess commend them for kind of thinking outside the box of what.
And drugs.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing that kind of bothers me about it is that this handlebar stem combo kind of locks you in. The geometry on it is already very aggressive to me. And if you don't like it, you get this bike and you don't like it, you're
SOL.
Yeah, you're out of options. So that's the other kind of bummer is that it's it might be cool to take a chance on it, but then
It's an expensive chance.
Yeah, I mean, for something that's just like so far out there, it's hard to think about like an option that like a middle ground to get you there to be like, oh yeah, I totally would enjoy that on my bike. It's like it's like you either go from like your regular setup to
this monstrosity.
To like Wild Town. And
like I have to hand it to Cayone, like I never thought I would see a bike that looked weirder than the Slate, but they have succeeded.
I mean, just my personal preference for getting suppleness out of a bike is definitely like definitely like the touch points on a bike. If you know about bike fit, touch points are always important. So I can understand like wanting to do something to the handlebar, but to use thicker bar tape.
That's not where you get the most suppleness.
The handlebar is not the place that I would like go so out there.
Yeah, I recently put on my cutthroat I'm looking at over there. I did two things to make it more supple. One, it's got carbon handlebars now. You get about like 10 to 15% more different. You know, not like a huge change, not as big as like a tire, but I felt like it does kind of just dulls down road vibrations. But another thing I added is the Redshift suspension stem. I know a lot of people think it's a throwback to the 80s, but it's completely different. It doesn't use springs. It uses like an elastometer, and it provides about 10 to 20 millimeters of travel. And it's actually not too bad. I mean, it looks like a normal stem. It won't set you back $2,000 like the Grail, or like $1,000 like the Loaf fork. So in terms of like something to add onto your bike to increase its suppleness, it's
like if you're having problems with feeling like your shoulders are getting beat up or your hands are numb or like having problems and you want to try something, I think like the Redshift stem is definitely
one thing I like about it, like it ships with a bunch of different elastometers, so depending on your weight or your preference, you can actually tune it. Unlike, I mean, it seems like the hover bar, it's that or nothing.
It's just what it is.
So here's a question: is supple the new Aero? Do you think now that gravel has gone mainstream and this traditional roadie market has grasped onto it with their marginal gains, do you think we're just going to see like lots of absurd, ways to make a bike more supple or have more suspension?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see that with tires. I think tires is where it started, and then you even see, even just with tubeless tires, I mean, you see definitely that. Yeah, I think so. I think that.
I also like the integrated bike stuff, like the what's the specialized call it? Like head shocks or
something like that.
Future shock. And then like I know.
What's the Trek also has their own.
Yeah, Trek came out with like I think it's the Boone gravel bike, but it's like the ISO something.
Yeah.
ISO decoupler. I don't know. It sounds like the side.
And both of those are like, well, so the Trek is in like the seat post or like. And then it's also in the headset.
Yeah.
And the Specialized is just in the.
I think it's just in the headset, but you get the zerts in the back.
Okay, that's right.
So here's one thing I'm wondering. So the way that gravel has generally like emerged, it came from the Midwest.
Sure.
And it had kind of a grassroots feel.
Yeah.
And now that it's become the industry darling and the road bike designers are getting into it.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to over-engineer the fun out of it?
Potentially. I mean, one way that this is for roadies is that on like a lot of the copy, it's like the hover bar only adds 120 grams. It's like only for roadies do you throw in the weight to like, hey, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like I feel like traditional like road bike marketing, it's like it's 10% lighter, 15% stiffer. So now we're going to see 10% lighter, but 15% more supple.
Well, but that is the other marketing thing that you see with these is that you lose your forward momentum. Like you get jarred up, and then you're not able to like just keep the watts churning out when you have to stop because you hit some bumpy road. And either it's in like the writing or the videos about these that it's like that what road. I mean, I know that like roads are rough. Like we don't all live on like newly paved streets, but like I feel like they're like potholes are everywhere.
Right.
It's like potholes are a thing that you have to deal with as a cyclist, but it's not like you're like risking.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I was gonna say I have mixed feelings, but I don't have mixed feelings about it. Like I just think it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those silly design things, and I mean, one of the interesting things is that maybe this is like a progression.
Maybe they went to the extreme one end and then they'll reel it back and make
like
something great.
that there's sometimes that's like what. I don't know, they try out something and it's like, hey, well, this is like what we have.
Right.
Let's put it out there and see what happens. And like,
right.
if it just falls completely flat, or the people who do write it can give us some feedback
right.
about how to modify it.
The one thing that it has done is like with the hover bar out, it makes everything look like less bad crazy. Like the Redshift looks comparatively normal.
Right.
Even like the crazy bars that like Velo Orange. And
right. Yeah. When you see different bike packing setups, you're like, oh, that's crazy. All those hand position.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, let's go on to comments. Thank
you for your comments.
Yeah. So this is from Sam Hopwood 3. No, Sam Hop. I have to stop doing that. Sam Hopwood. Drones and slow-mo were, I think, the primary subconscious triggers for me losing interest in mountain biking videos. Yes.
Cheers.
The term edits makes me feel a bit sick. I hate that term too. Like edit to me implies like it's not yet done, or like it's like an aspect of like a completed piece. It's either a film, a video, but like what edit. I can relate. Like, I make videos and, I see the same kind of formulaic stuff and like my brain tunes out. And like you see enough of them and you don't even remember what brand video you're watching.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I would rather have a little bit more low production value anyways and have it be that like, oh yeah, they're out there with a camera, or like they and their friends are like taking turns filming.
Or a story. Or right. Something like that. Like instead of just like B-roll of, roost sequence, drone shot, and then like AWOL Nation background, like an actual like narrative, conflict resolution.
Right.
Yeah. So should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah. These heavy pours. We'll have to...
Another big release that is less strange than I'd say the Grail is Salsa. Salsa came out with a new bike called the Journeyman.
Yes.
And it's aluminum, it's 650B.
It's all aluminum.
Aluminum frame, carbon fork. It's got the adventure mounts. It's designed for bike packing adventures, gravel races, and...
For those of you keeping track at home, or not keeping track at home, adventure mounts are
They're the 3 holes.
The 3 holes.
And the fork.
Yeah, you get all your Salsa, all your mounts.
Yeah.
There's the top tube mount.
The everything mounts.
I'm like really excited. The last time I rode a Salsa, it did not have the top tube mounts.
Yeah, they're nice because like...
I like that. I like that feature of Salsa, and I like that they're like just doing it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great feature. One thing, like, I think that I always had a tough time with bike packing is like you spend the money and get a beautiful bike, and then you put bags that use straps on it that wear the paint, and it's like, really, that's the best we can do. But it's cool to see, people are starting to innovate using, bolt-on bag systems and everything. But I think the most unique thing about the Journeyman is the price.
Yes.
I mean, at the top, their top-end build, which is only Claris group set, or no, it's Sora.
Yeah.
So like that's a step below Tiagra. Comes in at $1,000 or $1,100, and then you can get a Claris build at like $900. So if you want to get into
it's like $1,100 and $900. So
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's affordable.
Yeah, no, and it's cool. Like even the nice, even the higher end one is still. I mean, obviously, if you're like debating between an $800 and an $1,100 bike, $300 is a lot of money. But it's nice that it's like kind of just right in there, and then you get like all the features that I think somebody who wants to try out the new like all-road gravel bikes gets to get that in this.
A good entry price point,
Yeah, and then they get you. Then you can also do 700 or 650p. I mean, it just is like a smart. I think it's a smart move for Salsa, and
it's pretty fascinating because I feel like this is the first time where Salsa's put out a bike that has a similar offering in All City and Surly, and they've come out the cheapest.
And then the aluminum is an interesting choice. Of course, carbon forks, like we were talking about earlier, providing a little bit of suppleness to a ride. I think with like a wider 650B tire with a carbon fork, you're pretty supple. Yeah, I mean, like you are living the supple life.
You're level 3 supple.
I think people can nitpick about like its quick release. And some people are like, through axle, like that's the wave of the future.
Oh, is it quick release?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm over it.
So yeah, I mean, it's like, it doesn't offer you like all the bells and whistles,
Right.
but I think that some of that stuff, once again, is like
Splitting hairs.
splitting hairs. I mean, I think you have to like have ridden bikes for a while to appreciate the difference between quick release and through axle. I mean,
Yeah, I think
some of those things get kind of quickly very bike nerdy, and like
Right.
I can appreciate those differences, but just, I mean, I think about this bike like as for somebody who's just new. I mean, that's the price point it's at, is, or somebody who wants to explore. Like you might have a couple of bikes, you have like a nice road bike, and it doesn't fit.
Like the new big fat supple tires.
Right, and so you want something that can.
But it is wild. Look at, because I remember, 650B used to be only find it in Nabs, and then there was like Cogswell, which was kind of quasi like mass production.
Yeah.
Rollin, quasi mass production.
Yeah.
And then now it's like it's mainstream, which is cool. I mean, once like Surly, also the Salsa,
Yeah. And then
Does Specialized have a 650B? I mean,
I don't think so.
that's kind of like the final like stamp of mainstreamness.
Clarify the Salsa line for me again here. So Warbird is
So Warbird's a gravel race bike.
that's their gravel race bike.
And then the Via is like their heavy gravel bike / loaded touring.
Okay.
And then Cutthroat is around here.
And it's more mountain bikey?
Yeah, so it's like a drop bar mountain bike.
Okay.
So it's it can handle
Okay.
bigger terrain than the Via and the Warbird, but it's not as like responsive, fast, quick as a Warbird.
Sure.
So like when you get on it, like its main value proposition is comfort.
Right.
And like it can take rougher terrain.
Sure.
But it's not like I wouldn't put it in the same class as like a gravel race bike. And I feel like the Journeyman wedges itself further away from the Via and slightly closer to the Warbird, but not as quick as a Warbird because it has slightly longer chain stays.
Okay.
So I'm expecting a bike, if I get a chance to ride one, that's gonna be faster than the Via in the rear end, similar handling in the front end to the Warbird, but not as quick in the rear. So kind of a little bit more stable feeling Warbird.
I mean, and there's something nice about having a kind of like more like a, like your bike kind of just can go.
Yeah.
You're not
Not committed to racing.
Right.
Yeah, like I love the Warbird. Like in my stable, like it's probably my favorite bike. And every time I ride it, like over the last like forever years, I've been like, I would love this bike if it were 650B. And I've actually emailed like Joe Miser, the engineer at Salsa, saying, "Are you guys going to come out with a 650B Warbird? It'd be awesome."
Yeah.
And lo and behold,
That's what this kind of is.
kind of close.
Yeah, kind of.
Probably not as nimble and quick as a Warbird, but 90% there.
Yeah.
So, and at like a third of the price, which
Yeah.
is pretty awesome.
I love that you can go to your local bike shop and check it out and ride it and see if it works for you or someone that you know that might be needing help getting into gravel.
Yeah.
It's a great option.
Yeah.
And so
It's good gateway to gravel.
good for
bike.
Salsa. And it's cool. I like that they went to District Bicycles in Stillwater, Oklahoma. They released it there at the Land Run 100.
Right.
And it's cool. I also like that they're like supporting a local bike shop, a local event that's going on around gravel in the Midwest. That's cool of a brand to do, to kind of put some weight behind an event
for sure.
and make it a little bit more special.
Cool. All right. So we are shifting topics and ryes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're getting into the Rittenhouse, another straight rye, what they call a straight rye. So
bottled and bond. So while Topper's pouring,
gentle pours.
gentle pours.
Gentle pours.
Supple pours. Chaos writes, if we're changing the drinking game to epic, which might be a good move for this episode since we've used supple so many times, while covering bikepacking, nobody's going to last more than 10 minutes. It's all epic, right?
Epic. Yeah.
Another fun video, well done. Thank you, KS, for writing in.
Yeah, that's true. The epic is...
I don't know, like, and sometimes I feel, my more cynical days, which are mostly Monday through Friday, like I feel like I've reached peak epic when it comes to things. Like everything's like so epic, like nothing is epic.
Yeah.
Pretty epic on the nose.
Is it this Rittenhouse?
Yeah. So Rittenhouse, if you're not familiar,
Oh, yeah?
it's this is a very accessible rye.
About to say, coming off of
this is the Journeyman of Rye.
This is the Journeyman. This doesn't feel epic on the nose at all. Like this feels very, this feels like the trails you're used to that you bike to every day.
It's familiar.
It's familiar.
So like on the nose, for me, like I get more of like a mint, whereas on the other one, I was getting more of a black licorice.
The alcohol felt more forward on the other one.
Yeah.
This one feels like, I think some of the peppery notes or some of the like, there's something about it that I feel like because the Tattersall was so, to me, kind of peppery and oaky, the wood is being brought out in this one too.
Yeah.
Maybe more than I've experienced in the past drinking the Rittenhouse.
For me, like it starts off kind of rounded and then gets spiky at the end. Like the aftertaste has got the punch.
All right, well, I'll let this linger a little bit here, and we can move on to Rapha.
Yeah, so this is apparently the week of really weird ass releases because
we were just talking about Land Run,
right?
Which to me kind of opens up like the spring classics. Land Run is happening, and I think people are kind of gearing up for gravel season. You're wondering where to put all of the snacks. Top two bag. What goes in the top two bag? What goes in like the half frame bag?
Right.
What goes in the jersey pockets? Are you wearing a jersey?
Jersey pockets are so out. Because now we have another option. These Rapha gravel cycling shorts.
To be fair though,
that have pockets on the side, mesh pockets.
I haven't worn
that you can put
Bibs.
bananas in. No?
Yeah. No chamois, no master. And
you haven't worn Bibs ever?
In a long time.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I know, in a long time. And so to me, it's kind of like, cool, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
a couple things. One, it's like
too little, too late, Rapha.
But par for course for Rapha, it's insanely expensive. Almost $300. I think MSRP is $270.
Right. Well, because
and also like
they make you 10% faster.
That's true.
They do.
Why? Like in all their marketing that I've seen, it's like people are sticking bananas in there, which is like the weirdest thing to put in there. Like I don't think like that'd be like the banana friendly spot.
Whole Foods. We're in Whole Foods.
Doing your cafe ride to Whole Foods, picking up some bananas.
Well, just anything. Like you could put. I'd expect somebody to put like I don't know.
I mean, do you, okay, first of all, do you think cycling shorts need pockets if you were to wear cycling shorts? I don't think it's like necessarily a terrible idea. I mean, I'm kind of...
And so, I think it would have been, it's nice to think about solutions in a bib because if you're going for a longer ride, chamois do provide comfort. I guess I have gone full, like, get it off my body. Like I don't like no backpack, no stuff in jersey pockets. Like I want like
you want the bike to carry this stuff.
I want my bike. Like I have bags and stuff that I put on my bike. So like I would rather have like a slightly larger saddlebag with like a half frame bag and then something maybe on the handlebars. Like if I'm like going out for a long ride and I just feel like I need like a ton of stuff, or I mean like it's spring, you might need different layers of jackets.
Right. Yeah, I mean I appreciate the utility of it.
You've been going on longer rides.
Yeah, you know what's funny is what Laura actually got a pair of tri shorts and they had pockets in it. It was literally like I was like, really? Like what would you put in there that wouldn't like bother you? You know, apparently bananas. But I mean,
I could see some like a gel,
like gel, goose, maybe like you know what those pockets are for. It's for your stacks and stacks of cash.
I mean, you bring your $100 bills
to
your local bike shop to buy your Rapha, and you got a couple extra hundreds.
Yeah, where are you gonna put the Benjamins? I mean, you need the pocket, right?
So you gotta put them in there. Yeah, it's a little too late for me. Like the bib thing, like because once again, like I think people would be happier if it was off. Like, like why do you want any like amount if you don't have to, like if you don't mind having some bags on your bike? I think the good thing about like bike packing and gravel to me has been that it has like helped people see the light of like getting things off your body and just like how much better that can feel. Like I mean I've completed gravel events when like back before like all the things were made, like where like you only had the 2 bottle, like I don't know, you had like 2 bottles and you had to carry like a 3rd bottle in your jersey, and then you had like all your snacks, and no, there's other options now.
Right.
Like that was maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, that was like the way to carry stuff. But
the dark ages.
The dark ages.
I think if there's one thing that bikepacking has done, it's made it like, I feel like accessible or acceptable for roadies to carry things on their bike.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I don't, that are like averse to Iraq and panniers. Like there are other systems available.
Easy bags that can like, I mean, especially like a half
frame bag.
Half frame bag. I mean, can just be like, you don't have to mess with your water bottle cages. Like you can use your water bottle setup that you're used to using.
Yeah. So any last thoughts on the Rittenhouse?
Let me get a little bit more of the Rittenhouse here.
I like them for different reasons.
Yeah, it's hard to.
It's
weird, like when you're like, oh, these are both straight ryes.
They don't seem like they'd be related at all. Like, in some ways.
But I don't think that is a con for either one of them.
Yeah,
it's not like one of them isn't doing something right, or like, what's this? Social media. I have to say that I did.
You check out Vegan Cyclist?
I did check out Vegan Cyclist, of course.
What'd you think?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, he's good.
He has really nice. Yeah, like I
think he tells the story well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, great. Like I like the way he uses the limited. I mean, it's him, so it's like it's a nice way to see that. I think it's different.
I love his style because it's limited production value, but he packs in a lot of like information.
Right.
I don't know which videos you watched, but like I've seen him kind of narrate like a crit race.
Yeah.
And like, oh, so that's what's going on.
Yeah.
There's like strategy and what he's trying to accomplish. So
talking about Rapha, I did recently was tipped off to check out some of their more recent ride series. Like there's like a Rapha Rides, Seattle. The ones I watched, there was like a Seattle one, a LA one. I forget his name, but it's focused on one rider. To me, it felt like less bike oriented.
Okay.
The one in Boulder it's like it took me until like the very end to realize that it's Taylor Finney's mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
And it's like there's like a nice section about his dad and
he has like Parkinson's or
yeah. And it's just like her talking about like racing bikes. So she raced bikes back like 70s, back when there's like the Coors Classic and stuff. And I mean, first of all, I kind of didn't feel like a Rapha like video.
There weren't any like grunting faces or anything.
Yeah, I mean, to see like an older woman being portrayed in like a Rapha video was just kind of like refreshing.
Right. It's more like the personality, or it's more like profiles of people.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you get people's personalities more anyways, but so that was...
I do remember watching that and thinking that one was really good. All right, well, let's wrap up. Thanks again for joining us. If you enjoy The Supple Life, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, ride bikes.
Travel.
Do good. Stay supple. Cheers.